Good morning, all of you.
Good morning, sir.
Once again, we are starting our online lecture series. Now, all of you must be aware that because of the once again increase in the COVID patients, and because of that problem, we have to again follow our previous method. Okay, some of the lectures already we have conducted physically here, and we are continuing with the whatever our from the previous part. Okay, so those students who have physically attended the lecture, they are well aware that we are in the second unit, up to the end of the second unit. And as already we have discussed, our second unit consists of the three section. In that first, we have the macro and the macro preprocessor that already we have completed, and only two sections are remaining. And from that second section, we are starting today, and we'll finish it today only. So our second section consists of the loaders and the different types of the loaders. Okay. Now this concept already, while discussing our first unit introductory part, that time also we have discussed the concept of what exactly is the loader is. Okay. Now today we'll see the more details in that, and also we'll see what are the different types of the loader that usually being utilized, okay, in our process of execution of particular program. Now if you see this, I hope the slides are visible to all of you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so you can see here I have shown the one particular scenario as a figure where you can see the what exactly the loader is. Now all of you must be aware the loader main functionality is nothing but the load the particular program, okay, or the object module into the main memory for the execution purpose. Now already all of we have studied with the help of the translator, we translate the particular program, source program. Now your source program can be of any language, higher level language. Now your translator can be a compiler or the assembler, whatever it may be. Okay, so we give the source program to the translator, and that translator convert your source program into the object program. Okay, and then this object program, now you know the when you do the program, that program, when you compile the program, that program gets saved on our secondary memory. Okay, but you have to execute that program, the program needs to be there in the primary memory. Okay, now who is doing this task of taking that particular program to the primary memory? So that task is done by our one of the system software, that is nothing but our loader. So loader functionality is nothing but what? Loading. Main functionality is what? Loading. What to load? Loading the particular object program which is being generated as the output of the translator where into the main memory. Okay, so here I have shown the main memory. Here you can see the object program ready for the execution. So as it's a basic concept that all of you must be knowing, if the program needs to be executed, that program needs to be there in the main memory. So who is doing that task of taking the program from particular your secondary memory to the main memory? That task is done by whom? The loader. Okay, same thing I have mentioned here. A loader is a system software program that perform the loading function. It brings the object program into the memory and start its execution. So execution part is a part of central processing unit, but to give that particular object program to the CPU by loading into the memory, that is the task of our loader. Okay, all of you understood the function, what exactly the loader is? Yes. Yes, understood. What do you mean by the loader?
Yes,
सर
sir.
रिपीट करा ना.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yes, Zamdade.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Now here I am seeing there are a lot of students newly joined here. Those who have already not attended the lecture physically, they must be getting the problem while understanding. Okay, those students have attended the lecture physically. Already we have discussed this concept, what exactly is the loader. Okay, so for them once again I repeat. So before we have seen we are discussing the subject of system programming or the system software. Understood. Now there are the different example of system programming or the system softwares are there. One of the popular example of system program or the system software is nothing but our operating system. Okay. And apart from the operating system, different examples are like there is another, that is a loader which is being utilized when you execute the program. Okay. And before execution we have to do the compilation. Okay. Now in this whole process of execution, there is the utilization of one particular system software that is being referred as a loader. Here I have mentioned loader is a system software program that performs the function of loading. Loading of what? Loading of the object program. What is the object program? What do you mean by the object program? Yes. Object program is what? Yes. What do you mean by the object program? Bornare? Yes. What is the object program? Yes. Anybody else? What do you mean by the object program? Yes. What is the object program? Gade Gayatri. What is the object program? Yes. Can you hear me? What is the object program? Yes. Nobody know what is the object program?
Byte codes.
When it
Codes.
get generated?
Source program. Compiler.
When we compile the source program or assemble the source program, now you have to do the compilation, we have to utilize the translator as a compiler, and when you have to assemble the program, there we have to utilize the assembler. So that is the output of translator. Okay. Now this program actually before the loader there is a one more system software that is being utilized, that is called as what? The linker. Okay. And linker does what? Linker link the different object models together and generate the one particular exe file. Okay. So that is the next part that we are going to discuss, that is the linker. But before that we are discussing what exactly the loader is. So loader does the functioning of what? Loading of this program into the main memory in your random access memory, that is your main memory. So in order to execute the program by CPU, that object program need to be there in your main memory, and that functionality is done by whom? That functionality is done by the loader. Okay. Understood this? Yes. Function of loader understood or not? Hope say Pallavi.
Yes, sir.
Understood the function of loader?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So next is the some more details loading. What exactly the loading process is. Now you can see here uh, another modified diagram we have shown here. Now, as I said, when the translator translates your source program into the object program, that is being considered the executable program. Okay, after linker link that different object models together, it becomes the executable program. So this executable program is loaded by whom? The loader. Okay, that is being considered the loading process. Where it is loaded, it is being loaded into the main memory. Here you can see that is the reason here it is being mentioned executable program after the relocation. Okay, now you can see one more arrow is shown from the main memory to the loader again. Okay, where now loader gives the particular address of particular starting instruction from where the execution should be started by the central processing unit. Who is doing the execution of program? Yes, who is responsible for the execution of program? Which component of our computer system does the execution of program?
CPU.
CPU does the execution. So loader also need to load the program into the memory, and loader also need to provide the particular starting address of that particular program. Means suppose this is your program, okay, which is being loaded into the main memory here. So loader has to give the starting address. Starting address म्हणजे काय की कुठल्या लोकेशन पासून तुमच्या प्रोग्रामचे एक्झिक्युशन स्टार्ट होईल. So that address is being referred as here the memory address register. So here I have mentioned loader read the size of executable program. It read the size of means how much size is how much particular memory will be required for your executable program. That is determined by the loader. Here I have mentioned loader reads the size of executable program, and then what the loader does? Loader requests to the memory manager of operating system. Now who is going to give the memory for the for the loading of program? Operating system. So memory management, it is one of the functionality of the operating system. So that is the reason loader requests the memory manager for the of the operating system to request the particular space to load the executable program into the primary memory. So here operating system also plays the part. Loader has to request to the operating system to get the certain space for that executable program. Now after getting that certain space, here you can see the loader load the executable program into the primary memory like this you can see, and then again loader send the starting address to the memory address register or to the program counter, so computer can start the execution of loader program. So that is the reason here you can see here loader take the executable program. Okay, loader take the executable program and then it load into the main. Okay, that is here I have mentioned, and then again loader send the starting address to the memory address register. Now this memory address register here can be the memory address register or the program counter. So memory address register is the most closest to the our CPU. So that is the reason loader send the starting address to the memory address register or to the program counter, so that our CPU can start execution of the program. So this is nothing but the simple loading process where loader does the functioning of loading your executable program into the executable program or your object model into the main memory, and then giving the from where the execution should start. That starting address also given by the loader to whom? That starting address given by the loader to the memory address register, because this memory address register act as a temporary memory for our CPU, and then from this memory address register our CPU start execution, because in this memory address register starting address is being mentioned. स्टार्टिंग ऍड्रेस म्हणजे काय की कुठल्या लोकेशन पासून प्रोग्रामचं एक्झिक्युशन स्टार्ट होईल, दॅट इज बिंग मेन्शन इन द मेमरी ऍड्रेस रजिस्टर. आणि हे कोणी सांगितलेलं असतं? दॅट इज बिंग टेल बाय द लोडर. So loader gives the, here I have mentioned loader send the starting address to the memory address register, and from that the computer can start execution of the program. Okay, so this is the general procedure Now come to the point, that is what are the this question being asked in the exam number of times for the 4 marks. Different function performed by the loaders. Okay. Now, if you think about the functioning of the loaders as per the point we have discussed, first thing it does is nothing but the allocation. Allocation in the sense is read the particular loader, read the particular executable program of the object module after when the compiler or the assembler, which we are commonly refer as a translator, translate that your source program into the machine program, which we are calling as the object module or the executable program. So loader does what? Loader determine how much size is there of that executable program, how much space will be required for that program in the main memory. So here I have mentioned the first function of loader, that is the allocation. It allocates the space for the program in the memory by calculating the size of the program. So first task that loader does is nothing but the allocation of memory for that particular object program, where in the main memory. Okay. So that is the functioning of first function of the loader. Okay. Now here this now some loaders are now these functions we are discussing. These are the general functions. Means these are not the function of any specific loader, but these are the general function, because we are next point we are going to discuss is the type of the loaders. Okay. So in that type of the loaders, you will understand some of the loaders might not be performing this function. Okay, some of the loaders might not be performing this all the function that we have mentioned here, like 4 function we have mentioned here: allocation, linking, relocation, and the loading. Okay, so some of the loader perform the allocation, some of the loader doesn't perform the allocation, some of the loader just only perform the loading, some of the loader doesn't perform the relocation. Understood? So when we see the type of the loader, that time we will understand what are the exact functionality of particular specific loader. But before that, we have to discuss the general functions of the loader. So in that, first we have discussed the allocation. So what happened in the allocation? The space allocation for the particular program is done in the memory by calculating the size of it. Okay. Now linking, as all of you know, the linking is done by the linker itself. But if somehow the linking is not possible by the linker, and if there is a need of performing the linking after the linker does its role, then also loader can also do the functioning of linking also, but that is not the compulsory functioning of the loaders. Linking actually done by the linker itself. Okay. Another second main functionality performed by the loader is the relocation. This point also we have discussed in the physical lectures. What do you mean by the relocation? Yes. What is the concept of relocation? What is the relocation as one of the functionality of the loader? Yes, Jamdade, what is relocation?
Allocation of space in memory.
Relocation. Allocation we have discussed, that is not allocating the space for a program in the memory. What do you mean by the relocation?
Adjust करायची space.
Exactly.
Adjust
आता
all
suppose,
address.
correct. Suppose after translation of program by the translator, this is your object module generated or the executable program generated. Understood? Now, if this program is generated and while translation address is given that this program should execute from the memory location 101, but if the memory on the at the memory location 101 some other task is going on, okay, some other task is going on, then can we execute, can the is it possible to execute the program from this memory location 101 if some other task is going on at this location?
No.
No. Then in that case, this we have to change the location of that particular program so that that program can be executed from other memory location. Understood? So adjusting the memory location when it is not possible to execute the program from specified memory location, that is called as what? The relocation. The same thing I have mentioned. There are some address dependent location in the program, such as address constant. That particular instruction or the program, we have seen the concept regarding that address sensitive program or the address sensitive instruction. If such kind of things is there in your program, then in case of that, the relocation of that particular program or the instruction of the program has to be done, and that function is also done by performed by whom? The loader. Okay, understood this?
Yes, sir.
And the last and the main functionality of the loader is nothing but the loading, which is nothing but what? Place the all the machine instruction and data of corresponding program. Corresponding program means of your source program into the memory. So loading is nothing but simply take your executable program or the object program and place that object program in which memory? Main memory. Why that object program need to be there in the main memory? What is the reason? Can the computer execute the program, or can the CPU execute the program directly from the secondary memory? Is it possible?
No.
So that is the reason that program has to bring into the main memory, and that is called as the loading. So mainly here you can see we have to focus on these three major functionality. First is what? First function
Allocation.
allocation. तिथं काय होतं? Space allocated for the particular program in the memory. Understood? Relocation म्हणजे काय? Yes, relocation. What do you mean by the relocation? Changing the location of the program. Understood? That is considered as a relocation. की जर सपोज allocation loader ने allocation केलंय मेमरी लोकेशनला किती 101, बरोबर? allocation कुठल्या लोकेशनला झालंय 101. But ह्या 101 memory locationला if some other task is going on, then it is not possible to execute the program from this location. So this location has to be changed to some other available memory location. For example, 103. So that is called as what? The relocation. Understood? Yes. Relocation point understood.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir.
And lastly is nothing but the loading that already we have discussed. So keep in mind these three functionality. Okay, that is being performed by the loader. Now next important point we have to discuss, that is regarding the which are the different types of the loader. On this point also number of questions being asked number of times. Okay, that is the different types of the loaders. So some of the types of the loader we are going to discuss here. Now in that, first is the compile and go loader. Then we have the general loader, absolute loader, relocating loader, and the direct linking loader. Okay, let's see the one by one. Before that, here you can see the scenario that we are discussing. This also during the physical lecture also I told you how the execution of program goes on. Okay, so this is nothing but your source program. When you compile the program, there you utilize some translator. So your translator can be your compiler or it can be your assembler. It depends on what is your source program. So if your source program is assembly language program, you have to utilize the translator as a assembler. If your source program is any higher level language program like the C, C++, Java, etc., in that case you have to utilize the compiler plus in case of the Java you need to utilize the interpreter. So translator translate your program and generate the object module. Okay, some of you must have checked when you compile the program it generate one particular file. Okay, that is being referred as a particular, that is being referred as what? The ऑब्जेक्ट मॉड्यूल. ओके, यू कॅन चेक वेन यू कंपाईल द प्रोग्राम. जिथं तुम्ही प्रोग्राम सेव्ह केला असेल, ज्यावेळेस तुम्ही कंपाईल करता प्रोग्राम, ऍट दॅट टाइम तिथे एक पर्टिक्युलर फाईल जनरेट होते, दॅट इज बिंग रिफर्ड ॲज वॉट द ऑब्जेक्ट मॉड्यूल्स. ओके, नाव in case of one source program, there might be the more than one object module. There might be a 3 object modules, 4, 5, etc. Depends on which things, which functions you have utilized in your programs. Okay, which library functions is required by your source program. Depend on that, number of object modules are generated. Understood? So linking of this object module is done by whom? Linker. Understood? And after linking, the particular binary program is generated, that is being considered as executable program, and loading of that binary program or executable program or object module, you can say, that loading is done by our loader. Okay, here you can say, and then finally after the execution you get the result. So this is the general overview of linker and the loader along with its interaction with the translator. Okay, now let's see the discuss about the different types of the loader. Now in that you can see the first type here I have mentioned, compile and the go loader. Okay, now this loader is also called as assemble and the go also. Okay, another name for this loader is also what? Assemble and the go loader, or it can be also called as a compile and the go loader. Now what exactly this loader does and what is exactly the concept, let's see. Here is your source program. Okay, now you know the source program is translated by the particular translator. Here we are considering our translator as a assembler. Okay, now here you can see I have mentioned the compile and the go translator. What? Compile and the go translator. Now what exactly it is doing? It is translating your source program into the object program, and also it is loading that program into the memory. Okay, now here you can see the main memory we have shown. Okay, now which things you are observing in the main memory here? Which components you are observing in the main memory? Yes, which components you can see here in the main memory? What we are observing in the main memory here in this diagram?
Assembler.
So you can see here assembler is also there in the main memory. Okay, now but you can see assembler is one particular system software, correct? Just like our
Yes, sir.
just like our compiler. The size of the assembler always used to be the big size always used to be a big size. Now if you see the assembler itself in the main memory. Okay, now here what I have written, compile and the go translator. What? Compile and the go translator. Here I have here I have anywhere I have not mentioned anything about the loader. Can you see the word loader here anywhere in this figure?
No.
Because here our assembler itself is acting as a loader. For your kind information, what? Assembler itself acting as a what? Loader. Yes, that is the reason here I have mentioned compile and the go translator, or it is being also referred as what? The assembler and the go translator. Getting? So here our assembler itself acting as a loader, so it does the assembling of the program also, and it also load that program in the memory also, and assembler itself or compiler itself send the starting address to the CPU for the execution purpose. Okay, now what do you think, what can be the disadvantage of having the assembler itself in the main memory? Main memory is the which kind of memory? Yes, as compared with the secondary memory. Yes, what is the difference between the main memory and the secondary memory? Which memory size used to be the large? Main memory or the secondary memory? Yes. Which memory size is the large? Secondary memory or the primary memory?
Secondary memory.
Now you must have done the programs of the assembly language program. तुम्ही assembler कुठे install करत होता? Yes. तुम्ही ते TASM वगैरे यूज केला असेल ना? बरोबर? Where you are where you are installing that secondary memory or the primary memory? Yes. On which memory? Secondary memory, right? Yes or no? Are you getting my voice?
Yes, sir.
So here you can see the assembler is shown in the main memory. Understood. Now, if the assembler is the main memory, now what is the disadvantage of that? Disadvantage is nothing but the lot of memory will be get wasted if the assembler is there in the main memory. Understood. But in case of the compile and go loader, or in case of the assemble and go loader, the assembler used to be the part of the main memory. Okay. And assembler itself perform the functioning of the loader also, loading also, and assembler also performing the function of assembling the program, also converting the assembly language program into the object program also. Okay, so that is the reason this is also the assembler itself. Okay, this is also the assembler itself, which where you can see the I have mentioned the compile and go translator, or assemble and the go translator. Understood. So here it is being shown in the main memory. Okay, here it is just shown for the understanding purpose that what source program is translated by the assembler or the assemble and go translator. Okay, and that program is loaded in the memory. So this loading functioning is done by the assembler itself. As you can see, the assembler is the part of the main memory. If the assembler is part of the main memory instead of secondary memory, because of this, the lot of memories get wasted. As you know, we have the limited main memory as compared with the secondary memory. So that is the main thing related with the compile and go loader, which I have mentioned here. You can see compile and go loader. In this type of loader, the instruction is read line by line, and its machine code is obtained, and it is directly put in the main memory at some known address. So what do we mean by this? That means the assembler run in the one part of the memory, and the assemble machine instruction and data is directly put into the assigned memory location. So the conversion of source program into the machine program is also done by the assembler itself, and loading is also done by the assembler itself. That is the reason this particular loader is named as compile and go loader, or it is being also named as the assemble and the go loader. Okay, so after completion of assembly process, after completion of conversion of source program into the assembly program, the assembler or this compile and go loader or the assemble and go loader assign the starting address of the program to the location counter that in the previous figure we have seen. Okay, every loader has to give the starting address to the CPU, which is being that starting address is stored in the memory address register or into the location counter or into the program counter, because CPU can refer this memory address register or the location counter, and in that location counter what is being mentioned, the starting address of the particular program is mentioned, from where CPU can start the execution. Okay, so the only the functionality performed by this particular compile and go loader, which is nothing but the particular translator itself, that is nothing but assembling of the program also, as well as loading the program within a main memory also. So both of the functionalities performed by the this loader. So this is a very old kind of loader. Generally, it is being not utilized today also. It is today in today's period, this is not utilized. Okay. So what is the example of such kind of loader? Water for 77. That is the one kind of example of this compile and go loader, or example of assemble and go loader. So it is being there in case of the Fortran compiler. Okay, in case of the Fortran compiler, which uses the loader and go scheme. Okay, so in case of the Fortran compiler, there is a utilization of such kind of loaders. Okay, where that particular uh, compiler itself or the assembler itself do the functioning of the compilation or assembling, as well as the functioning of the loading also. Now, along with this, you have to mention the advantages and the disadvantages also. Okay, so this is a simple to implement. This kind of loader is simple to implement. Okay, and you can see there is a no need of some extra system software. Okay, there is a no need of the extra system software here I have mentioned, because assembler is placed in the one part of the memory, and loader simply load the assemble machine instruction into the memory. No additional routines, in the sense, no additional system software required to load the compile code into the memory, because assembler itself is the part of our main memory. Okay, no additional routines, in the sense, we know the in order to load the program into the main memory, we need the additional subroutine, that is the loader. But in case of the compile and go loader, that functionality is done by the translator itself. Understood? That functionality is done by the translator itself. That is the reason it is being referred as what the compile and the go load. Okay, let's see the disadvantages of these. So disadvantages are what? As we have shown in the figure, the assembler itself is the part of the memory. Okay, so because of that, there is a wastage in memory space due to the presence of the assembler in the main memory. So that is the main disadvantage of this particular compile and go loader. Okay, and as the assembler is the part of the main memory, as all of you know, our main memory is a volatile kind of memory. Okay, it used to store the different instruction data, or whatever the what you can say, the software, for the some temporary time. Understood? So as it is storing the content temporary time, every time there is a need to reassemble the program. Okay, every time there is a need of the reassembling of the program, because assembler is the part of the main memory. Understood? So this is nothing but our first kind of loader, that is the compile and go loader. Which advantages and the disadvantages we have seen? Advantages is what? No extra subroutine, like no extra system software, like loader we need to utilize, because here our compiler or the assembler itself acting as a loader. Okay, and disadvantage is what? If you put your assembler as a system software or the translator on the main memory, because of that, lot of wastage of the main memory.
Good morning, all of you. This is Darkness sir, and today we are continuing with our yesterday's lecture, where in the yesterday's lecture we have seen what is actually meant by the loaders, and also we have discussed some of the types of the loaders also. So basically, we are discussing the subject system programming and the operating system. In that, already in the physical classes, we have seen what is exactly the concept of system programming. So system programming is nothing but the programs which is being utilized for the system to work. So the program which are being there to help the system to make the system to work, that particular programs comes under the category of the system program. And one of the famous example of system program also we have seen, that is the operating system, because without the operating system our computer system cannot work. So operating system is one of the best example of the system program. So further, we are now in the unit number second, and at the end of unit number second, we are discussing about the another tool which is there utilized in the execution of the program, execution of any higher level language program or the assembly language program. So like the operating system, there are the other tools are being there, like there is a linker is there, loaders is there, assembler is there, compilers are there. So these are all the examples of the system program. Now we are discussing about the what exactly the loader is. So here I also mentioned in the previous lecture already we have discussed these things. So just as a recap, and then we continue with our further part. Okay, so here also I have mentioned loader is nothing but the system program that perform the function of loading. So what exactly the loader loads? So loader actually load the object program. That object program is nothing but the output of our translator. Translator can be a compiler or the assembler. So here you can see this is the source program. Now source program can be your C, C++, Java, etc. Or and for this kind of source program, we have to utilize the compiler as a translator. And if your source program is assembly language program, then your translator will be the assembler. So that translator will generate some object program, and the loading of that object program into the memory, or loading of that particular this object program can also be referred as some executable program also. So loading of that program into the memory, that is the main functionality of the loader. So here you can see this is our main memory. So for in case of computer system, if any program needs to be executed, that program needs to be in the main memory. And to bring that program into the main memory, the one of the system software which play their part, that is nothing but our loader. Okay. Now this part in the previous lecture also I told you. Okay. Now regarding the different functionality of the loaders also we have discussed, and this is also the another general procedure how the loader perform the loading. So here this is the output of the translator, as in the previous figure I have shown you. Then loader load this program into the memory. This is the main memory. Okay. Okay, here you can see the executable program after the relocation or after the loading by the loader. Then again, this loader does the one more task, that is nothing but loader give the starting address of the program in this memory address register. So loader has to provide the starting address of the program in the memory address register. What is the memory address register? Memory address register is nothing but the one of the temporary memory. Okay, that temporary memory which is most closest to the what you can say, which is most closest to our central processing unit. Okay, so in that case, the particular loader has to perform the functionality of giving that particular. So as I said, the loader has to perform the one more functionality apart from loading the program into the main memory, and that is nothing but providing the starting address of the program within this memory address register, and this starting address being utilized by the our processor which is responsible for the execution. So loader also give the starting address within this memory address register, and that starting address is utilized by the our CPU for the execution purpose. Okay, so from where the execution should start, that will be determined with the help of that starting address. So this memory, so the loader send the starting address to the memory address register or to the program counter, so computer can start the execution of loaded program. Okay, so this is also in the previous lecture we have discussed in details. Another thing which we have discussed in the details, nothing but these are the different functionality which is performed by the loaders. Okay, so first functionality is the allocation, then the linking. Linking is also performed by the some of the loaders. Okay, in order to perform the linking, there is a use of the separate system software that we are going to see in the next unit, next lecture. That is the linker is a separate system software which is generally specifically utilized for the linking purpose. But there are also the this functionality, there are also some loaders which perform this functionality of the linking also. But mainly we have to focus on these three functionality, that is allocation, relocation, and the loading. Okay, so allocation is nothing but already we have discussed, allocating the space for the program in the memory with the help of the operating system. Relocation is nothing but the if there are some address dependent location in the programs, address dependent location in this is address sensitive instruction, uh, uh, some kind of address sensitive instruction which is the part of your object program. Object program is nothing but the result of the translation of translator. When the source program get translated into the object program, that object program also come with certain addresses from where the that program has to be executed or the instruction has to be executed. If the instruction cannot execute from that particular given address, then that addresses of such instruction has to be changed. Okay, so changing and modifying that addresses is nothing but the called as a relocation. That also functionality performed by the loader, and the main task is nothing but loading the machine instruction and data into the particular main memory. So these are the different functions performed by the loaders, but it is not like that. As we have already seen the types of the loader, every loader, it may be possible that some of the loader will perform all this functionality and some of the loader will not perform this functionality. Okay, in the types of the loader, we have already seen it, and still about the two loaders we will discuss that. So these are the type of the loader. Okay, mainly compile and go loader, general loader, absolute loader, relocating loader, and the direct linking loader. Okay, so this is the overview of linker and loader. Already last time also I have told you. Okay, translator take this input as a source program, generate the object module. Number of object modules are generated here. More than one object files are generated. Then these object files are linked by the linker, and then loader load this particular singly executable file into the main memory, and then we get the result. Okay, this already last time also I told you. So this is our first type of loader, which already we have discussed, that is called as a compile and go loader. Now in case of this loader, what happened, the assembler itself is considered as a loader, or the translator itself is considered as a loader. That's why you can see here this particular source program is converted by the compile and go translator. Okay, and then it is being loaded into the memory. Okay, so here you can see the assembler itself is a part of the memory. Okay, because of lot of memory get utilized for the assembler itself. As you can see, the assembler is a part of the main memory. The program, source program, get converted into the object program, and then assembler itself load it into the memory, and that is the reason this particular loader is also referred as a compile and go translator, or the compile or assemble and the go translator. So disadvantage of this loader is what, the assembler itself is a part of the particular main memory, and advantage is nothing but what, as assembler is a part of the main memory, loading becomes easy as the program get converted within a main memory only, and it is being loaded within a particular that memory itself. Okay, so same thing I have mentioned here, compile and go loader. In this type of the loader, the instruction is read line by line, machine code is obtained, and it is directly put in the main memory at some known address. Okay, so it means the assembler runs in one part of the memory, and the assemble machine instruction, converted machine instruction, and data is directly put into the assigned memory location. So this is the one of the example of this. Last time already I told you. Okay, so regarding this, some advantage disadvantage also we have discussed last time. Like advantage is nothing but, as you can see, the that particular assembler itself act as a loader, and that is being part of the main memory. In some particular part of the main memory, that this compile and go loader, or the assemble and go loader is located, okay, present. And because of that, the loading process becomes simple, as this particular compile and go loader or assemble and go loader, which is nothing but your assembler itself, or which is nothing but your translator itself, is a part of the main memory. So the loading process become easy because of that. So there is a no need of additional routines, like no need of any additional system software like special loader. There is a no need of such kind of special loader in case of this kind of compile and go loader, because what I'm saying, the assembler itself act as a loader here. That is the reason the name given to this particular loader is compile and go loader, or this can be also refer as a assemble and the go loader. Okay, now another thing, disadvantage is what, that is the wastage of memory, that already I told you. Wastage of memory space due to the presence of assembler in the memory itself. Okay, and another disadvantage is what, the execution time will be more in this particular scheme, because every time we need to assemble the program, even if you don't make the changes within a program, the program has to be reassembled every time, because the assembler is present in the main memory. And you know, the in the main memory is a volatile kind of memory, and because of volatility, the data cannot be remain in main memory for longer period of time. So every time, even if you don't make the modification in your program, the particular reassembling need to be done. So second kind of loader also we have discussed, that is the absolute loader. So this loader try to overcome the limitations of our previous loader, In case of this loader, the assembler or translator is not present in the main memory, it is present on the secondary memory, and because of that, that wastage of memory get avoided. Okay, now name given to this loader as absolute loader because this loader only perform the function of loading. It doesn't perform the functionality of allocation and the relocation. So that functionality of allocation and relocation is performed by the programmer or the assembler, and that is the reason name given to this loader as a absolute loader, because it just only one functionality to perform, that is nothing but the loading functionality. As you can see here, there is a no presence of assembler in this main memory. Okay, only in the main memory the program is loaded by the absolute loader. The translator or assembler is present on the secondary memory itself. Okay, so absolute loader, actually absolute loader is part of this particular main memory. Okay, here you can see this for the demonstration purpose, you know, to understand loader loads this particular part in the main memory. Okay, and so that is the one disadvantage which was there in case of the compile and go loader, that is avoided in case of the absolute loader, because in the absolute loader there is a no presence of translator within the main memory. Our translator, that can be a compiler or the assembler, that is present on the secondary memory. In the main memory only program are present, and loader is also the part of the main memory. Okay, and regarding this also advantages we have seen. Advantage is nothing but it is simple to implement, the wastage of space memory is avoided, that is the main advantage. Okay, and you can have the allow this particular loader allow the multiple programs to be load, multiple programs of the different language, as well as the program related with the uh, uh, large code, as well as the program related with the large data, that can be also easily loaded using this kind of loader. That is the reason this is being also referred as a efficient for the execution. Disadvantage is nothing but in case of this one more advantage is nothing but related to the loader. Functionality of loader is only limited, that is just to load. Other functionality like allocation and relocation, that is done by the uh, programmer and the assembler itself. Now disadvantage is nothing but the programmer has to take care of the memory management. So the regarding that, the programmer need to be the knowledge of how to manage the memory while doing the programming itself. He has to manage all the things. So programmer also manage the relocation part also. So that is the one of the disadvantage, the programmer duty to adjust all the intersegment addresses and manually do the linking activity, loading, relocating activity, that has to be done by the programmer. So this is the part already we have discussed, that's why in the fast manner I am discussing this. Okay, so mainly if you compare the first loader, that is the compile and go loader, and the second loader, that is the absolute loader, the differences are quite visible. Like in the compile and go loader, our loader, the assembler or the compiler, or we give name to it as a general name, translator itself act as a loader, and that is part of your main memory, and which is doing the functionality of uh, convert translation also, and doing the functionality of loading also. As that assembler is a part of the main memory in case of the compile and go loader, wastage of space is happening. Okay, that is the main thing in case of the first. In second, this drawback is avoided, as in case of the second, your assembler or compiler or general name to that translator is not part of the main memory, it is part of the secondary memory. And this loader only do the functionality of loading, it does not perform the allocation, relocation, etc. Okay, so now then we have the third kind of loader, that is our general loader scheme. Okay. Now as compared with our previous two loader, compile and go loader and the absolute loader, uh, uh, specifically in case of the compile and go loader, in which the assembler is placed in the main memory, and because of there is a result in the wastage of memory. So to overcome this, we require the addition of new program. Okay, and that addition of new program or addition of that new system program, you must say the system program, that is nothing but the loader. So in case of this compile and go loader, Assembler itself is doing the activity of the loading, or compiler itself is doing the activity of loading, or general to name to this, to compiler and assembler we can utilize translator. So translator has to do the functionality of the loading, and that translator as assembler or compiler is part of the main memory because of the wastage of memory happening. So to avoid this, the special program is introduced. Okay, special system program is introduced, and that special system program is nothing but our loader itself. Okay, just like the absolute loader in the previous example we have seen. So name given to this loader is a general loader, because this is the loader generally utilized in the most of the computer system nowadays. Okay, that is the reason name given to it as a general loader, the most popular loader being utilized in the most of the computer system. Okay, now as I said, the new system program is introduced, which is performing the functionality of the loading. Instead of giving that role to the translator, new program is introduced that is being considered as a loader, which will do the functionality of loading, allocation, relocation, etc. Now if you see this, now how it is avoiding that wastage of space in the memory. Now loader itself is also the part of the main memory, but size of this loader is very small, less than the particular assembler or particular translator, if you see. And that is the reason here I have mentioned this loader is assumed to be the smaller than assembler, so the memory is available to the user. So the amount of memory which is required for the assembler, when the assembler is there present in the main memory, as compared with that, loader is having the less size, and that is the reason loader is requiring the less memory. If loader is requiring the less memory, then more memory can be utilized by the user for the execution purpose. I am talking about the main memory. Okay, so loader accept the machine instruction here and the related data information present in the object format, and place that machine instruction and data into the executable form and load it into the main memory. Okay, so in case of these, reassembling is not required, which we are requiring in case of the compile and go loader. Reassembling or the recompiling is not required, because here assembler or the compiler or generally the translator is not part of the main memory. It is part of the secondary memory, and you know the secondary memory is a non-volatile. It is a permanent storage. Okay, so reassembling, even if you don't do the modification in your program, in case of compile and go loader, we need to do the reassembling. But in case of this, if you don't do the modification, there is no need to do the reassembling of the program or retranslation of the program if you use the general loader scheme, because here loader is a part of the main memory, translator is not part of the main memory, translator is present on the secondary memory, and loader is doing the specific functionality of the loading, relocation, and allocation. Understood? So this is the loader which is doing all the functionality that initially we have discussed: allocation, relocation, and the loading. Understood? So that is the reason this is the most popular loader being utilized as compared with our previous two loader. So here you can see the scenario I have shown. You can see there might be the more than one source program. So translator can be in the assembler, or it can be a compiler which translate the program into the number of object programs. So object program can be one, or it can be more than one for the particular source program. It depends on what kind of different functions you are utilizing the source program, what are the library functions required for your source program. Depends on that, your source program is going to get converted by the translator, and your translator convert your source program into the multiple object files. Okay, so these multiple object files has to be loaded by the loader into the main memory. Now before the loader, there is a another system program is utilized that is called as a linker, that in the next lecture we will see. So these multiple object programs are linked together by the linker, and linker create one single executable file, and that single executable file is loaded by the loader. So loader has to take these object programs or the object module and load into the main memory. Here you can see the object program ready for the execution, which is loaded by the loader itself. And you can see here the loader itself is the part of the main memory. Here I have shown it outside the main memory. It is just for your understanding purpose. Loader is loading this object program into the main memory. But loader itself is the part of the main memory. Here you can see there is a no assembler which is or no translator which is part of the main memory. Here loader is a part of the main memory, and loader is requiring the less memory as compared with the assembler. So this is the most popular kind of loader which is generally utilized in the computer system as compared with our previous two loaders. First was the compile and go, and second was the absolute loader. Okay, so these loaders having the various advantages, like it is smaller than the assembler, no reassembling is required. You can write the different programs in the different languages. There is a no wastage of memory because assembler is not placed in the memory, so memory is available to the user. And these are the disadvantages which we are coming in case of the compile and go loader. So only small amount of memory of the small amount of main memory is utilized for the loader. That can be considered as one of the minor disadvantage. It is not the major disadvantage. Okay, so general loader is better than the previous two loaders. That first was the compile and go loader, and second was the uh, absolute loader. Because you know the compile and go loader, there is a wastage of memory. In case of absolute loader only performing the function of loading, it is not performing the functionality related with the allocation and the relocation. But this general loader performing that all functionality in the sense it perform the functionality of allocation also, it perform the functionality of relocation also, as well as it perform the functionality of the loading also. That is the reason it is considered as a better than all previous loader. Okay, now let's come to the our last kind of loader, that is nothing but the direct linking loader. Okay, so this is considered as one of the popular kind of loader which is come under the category of general loader scheme only. Okay, that is being referred as a direct linking loader. So it is also considered as a relocatable loader. Okay, and this loader also perform the all the functionality, means it perform the functionality of the allocation also, it perform the functionality of the relocation also, it perform the functionality of the loading also, and it can also perform the functionality of the linking also. So that is the reason here I have mentioned most popular loader loading scheme. Okay, now in case of this loader we are going to see the some different concept. Okay, now when the as you can see in the this particular previous figure, you can see when the particular translator, now I told you the translator can be assembler, it can be a compiler. When the translator convert your source program into the object programs, in that case translator has to give some information regarding this particular uh, each particular procedure or the segment. Okay, so what we are trying to see in this direct linking loader, what kind of information is provided by this translator to the loader. Okay, what kind of information need to be provided by this translator to the loader, that part we are going to discuss in the direct linking loader. Because in case of the direct linking loader all the things are same, that it perform the functionality of allocation, relocation, and the loading. Okay, so some extra thing regarding this we are going to see. So here I have mentioned the assembler, or you can say the translator also here must give the loader following information. As you can see here, this structure you must keep in mind while we are discussing that point. The translator must give the different information to the loader. Okay, now what kind of that different information that we are going to discuss here. Okay, so that information is here. You can see the assembler must give the loader following information regarding different procedures or the different data that we have utilized in the program. Means in short, assembler must provide the various kind of information related with your program or related with your source program, or you can say the object module. Now what is that information assembler should provide to the loader? So this is the information. In that, first thing is what? The length of the segment. Length of the segment in the sense length of the different modules which is present which is part of your program, or length of your program itself, size of your program itself. So assembler must give the loader this information: what is the length of the program, what is the size of the program, that is being mentioned here, the length of the segment, because loader has to allocate the space within a memory, and for that purpose loader need the information what is exactly the size of your program, and that information is provided by the assembler or the translator to the loader. Okay. Then second kind of information that assembler must provide to the loader, that is here a list of symbol defining the current segment that may be referenced by the other segment. What? A list of symbol defining the current segment that may be referenced by the other segment means what? The publicly declared variable in your program. Suppose this is your program. Now in this program there are the different functions you have utilized. Okay, different modules you have utilized. Now in this program here you have publicly declare one variable a. Now this variable declaring in this function, now this function, in this function, this variable a declare means this variable a is publicly available for this function. As you have declared this variable in this function, suppose if you call this function as a xyz function, and in that xyz function you have declared the variable a. So this a is nothing but the publicly declared variable related with the xyz. Suppose you call another, there is another function that is the abc. Okay, now in case of this ABC function, this A variable is nothing but the external variable, because it is not defined in the A, it is, this A variable is not defined in the ABC, this is defined in the XYZ. So if you want to utilize this A variable in the ABC, then it is to be utilized as an external variable. Understood? Because it is publicly defined in the XYZ. So this kind of information has to be provided by the loader to the loader by the assembler. So in that second is what? A list of symbol defining the current segment that may be referenced by the other segment. As I said, there are the two functions. One is the XYZ and one is the ABC. So whatever the symbols that you are utilizing the particular function XYZ, regarding this, the information has to be provided to the loader. Okay. And because if you are declare the variable a here, this variable can be utilized in the this function abc, but by defining it as a external variable. Okay, so this is the second information, list of symbol defining the current segment that may be referenced by the other segment. म्हणजे एखाद्या function मध्ये तुम्ही variable declare केले असतील, if it is, if that, if you when we declare some variable in one particular function, that particular variable is considered as a public declaration. Third kind of information that must be provided by the assembler to the loader, that is a list of symbol not defined in the segment but reference in the segment. So just I told you two functions xyz and the abc. Okay, this is the xyz and this is the abc. Okay, so publicly defined variable in this function that also need to be informed by the assembler to the loader. Okay, and if some variable is not defined in this xyz but it is utilized in the xyz, so that also need to be informed to the loader by the assembler. So here in this function a variable is declared. Okay, and this a variable is considered as a what? Publicly defined variable in this xyz. But if in this xyz function you have utilized the another variable, that is the b variable, and this b variable is not declared in this xyz but it is declared in the function abc. So in this case this b variable become external variable for the xyz. Okay, and this b variable in case of abc become the publicly available variable. सो इन शॉर्ट की ज्या फंक्शन मध्ये तुम्ही व्हेरिएबल डिक्लेअर करताय त्या फंक्शन साठी ते व्हेरिएबल बिंग कन्सिडर ॲज अ पब्लिकली डिक्लेअर, आणि एखाद्या फंक्शन मध्ये तुम्ही व्हेरिएबल यूज केलं आणि त्या फंक्शन मध्ये ते व्हेरिएबल डिक्लेअर केलेलं नाही, in case of that function that variable becomes the external variable. So you have to inform to the loader regarding all the publicly declared variable. Also, you need to inform to the loader all the external variables. What do we mean by the external variables? A list of symbol or the variable not defined in the particular segment or procedure, but reference in the segment. की असे सिम्बॉल जे तुम्ही तुमच्या त्या प्रोसिजर मध्ये किंवा फंक्शन मध्ये डिक्लेअर केलेले नाहीत, बट यू हॅव युटिलाइज दॅट. ओके. पब्लिक व्हेरिएबल म्हणजे कुठले? अ लिस्ट ऑफ सिम्बॉल डिफाईन इन द करेक्ट सेगमेंट दॅट मे बी रेफरन्स बाय द अदर सेगमेंट. पब्लिक व्हेरिएबल म्हणजे काय? तुम्ही जर तुमच्या फंक्शन मध्ये ते व्हेरिएबल डिक्लेअर केले असतील, then that variables are considered as a publicly declared variables. So that publicly declared variable might be utilized by the other functions also. So in short, the assembler has to provide the information to the loader regarding the publicly declared variable as well as the regarding the externally variables also. Okay. So here I have mentioned the external variables mean list of symbol or the variable not defined in the segment but utilized in the particular segment. Segment चा अर्थ इथं function किंवा procedure घ्या. Okay. Then also the assembler need to inform to the loader regarding the information about the various address constant. If different address constants are utilized in the program, that information also need to given by the assembler to the loader. Okay. And finally, assembler has to give to the loader the machine code translation of source program and their relative addresses assigned. So finally, assembler need to give to the loader machine translation program, means translated object program itself has to given to the loader. Okay. Conversion of source program into the machine program. So that is here I have mentioned the machine code translation of source program and the relative addresses. So when the source program get converted into the assembly, when the source program as assembly language program get translated into the machine language program, that machine language program has also to be provided to the loader along with their addresses. So these different things has to be provided by the assembler to the loaders. Okay. And with the help of these, then loader does the functioning of allocation, relocation, and the loading. Okay. Now, related with these, there are the different object modules are produced by the loader. Okay. Now, next point we are going to discuss here, different object module produced by the assembler. Okay. Now, which are that different object module produced by the assembler? And these object modules produced by the assembler is given to the loaders. Here you can see, here in the diagram you can see the now let's see the next point regarding the direct linking loader. Now in case of the direct linking loader, as we have discussed, it is the most popular kind of loader. Okay. And this loader has to provide the different information, has to receive the different information from the assembler. So as this particular direct linking loader, as I have mentioned, the most popularly utilized loader is there, and it is also being famously referred as a relocating loader also. This also comes under the category of general loader scheme. Okay. And it perform all the functionality that is being performed by the general loader scheme, like it perform the functionality of the allocation, it perform the functionality of relocation, and it perform the functioning of the loading also, and sometimes it can also perform the functionality of the linking also. Okay. So as you can see, this particular direct linking loader has to give the different information, has to receive the information from the assembler, and assembler must give the different kind of information to this particular loader. Okay. Now what kind of information that needs to be given by the assembler to the loader? That is this different kind of information, like the assembler must provide the loader the length of the segment. Here the length of the segment, you can take length of the particular program. Okay. Source program you can say, and the different modules which is present in the source program, or different procedure or the function which is present in the source program, that all the information has to be given by the assembler to the loaders. Okay. Also loader need to provide the, also assembler need to provide the loader second kind of information, a list of symbol defining the current segment, list of symbol defining the current segment, that may be referenced by the other segment. Means if some variable defining the one particular function or the procedure, that may be utilized by the other function or the procedure. So variable in which the particular function or the procedure in which the variable is declared, that variable we generally refer as a publicly declared variable. So assembler need to give the information to the loader regarding this publicly declared variable. Also third kind of information that assembler must give to the loader is nothing but the a list of symbol or the variable which are not defined in the program or in some procedure, but it is reference or utilized in the other program or in the other functions. So that particular variables is called as what, the external variables. Okay. So third kind of information that assembler must give to the loader is nothing but the external variables. So what do we mean by the external variables? A list of symbol or the variable not defined in the current, not defined in the segment. Segment means not defining the particular function or the procedure, but maybe utilizing the but maybe reference in the other segment or the other procedure. Okay. Then fourth kind of information that need to be provided by the assembler to the loader is nothing but the information about the different address constant. Okay, different address constant that we are utilizing the program. And fifth kind of information is nothing but the assembler must give the loader that machine language program itself. Here I have mentioned the machine code translation of source program and the relative addresses. This information also need to be provided by the assembler to the loader. Means fifth information is what? The machine code itself and the related addresses has to be provided by the assembler to the loaders. Okay. So you can see in this diagram, this is the diagram, you can also refer it for the direct linking loader. So translator as a, you can consider as a assembler. So assembler has to provide these five different kind of information to the loaders. Here you can see the, we have shown the object programs given to the loader. So along with these object programs, different information provided to the loaders by the assembler is this that we have shown here: length of the segment or length of the program or length of the different procedure function that you are utilizing the program, list of variables or the symbol which are publicly defined in particular program or the procedure or the function, a list of symbol which is not defined in the particular procedure or function, but which is utilized in that function or the procedure, that particular variables are called as a external. So external variables are variable which are being utilized in certain function or the procedure without being declared in that particular function or the procedure. So that are not defining that particular currently utilized function or the procedure, but that are declared or defining the other function or the other procedure, and from that other function and other procedure you are utilizing it in the current procedure or the current function. That is the reason that are referred as the external variables. And fourth, information about the address constant, and fifth is nothing but the machine code translation of the source program, that is the machine program itself has to be given by the assembler to the loaders. Okay. Now next point is what, the assembler, as we have seen in the previous section, has to provide the different information to the loaders. Okay. So assembler produce the different object modules, okay, that you can see in this part. These different object modules are produced by the object program or the object modules, you can also call it. So assembler produce the different object modules, and whatever information that I told you here, these five different kind of information, these five different kind of information is part of that particular object modules which are produced by the assembler. Now which object modules are produced by the assembler, that we are going to see here. Now in that first object module which is produced by the assembler is called as external symbol directory. Okay. Now here we have taken the sample assembly language program, okay, for your understanding purpose. Now, as I said, the assembler produce the different object modules. In that first object module is what? External symbol directory. Now, what is this external symbol directory? Now you can see the external symbol directory contains the two important information. It contains the information about all the symbols that are defined in this program, but may be referenced by the other program. Means what it contains? The publicly defined variables. Understood? That is the first thing which is contained by the external symbol directory. What? It contains the information about all the symbols that are defined in this program, but may be referenced by the other program. Understood? Second information it contain the symbols or the variable that is referenced in this program but are defined in the other program. What? Variables or the symbol reference or utilized in the particular current program but defined in the other program. Now in the same example, let me show you which are the publicly defined variable or the symbols and which are the externally defined variable or the symbols. Okay. Now related with the first kind of information which is part of the external symbol directory, that is it contains the information about all symbols that are defined in the program but may be referenced in the other program. Now in this program, the variable which is declared with the entry, that variables or the symbols are considered as a publicly declared variable. So here result is the publicly declared variable. Okay, so this symbol is declared or defined in this particular program, and it can be utilized in the other program. Okay, so it is being shown here with the keyword entry. Okay, so result is the publicly declared variable. Second kind of information in the external symbol directory, it contains the variable or symbols that are referenced in this program but may be defined in the other program. So this is nothing but the information regarding the external variables. So in this program, sum is the external variable. Now external variables are mentioned in the program with the help of the keyword extrn. With the help of the keyword extrn. Okay. So sum is the external variable here, which is not defined in this program but utilized in this program. So some variable might be defined or declared in the other program, but you have utilized in this program. So if you want to utilize this in the program, it has to be declared as a extrn. So generally, first kind of object module produced by the assembler, that is the external symbol directory. So it contains the two kinds of information, that is the publicly declared variable and the external variables. Okay, regarding the certain program. Then now regarding the same, we can see here, you can observe here, external symbol directory look like this. It consists of the line numbers, symbols, type, their relative locations, and the length. So different symbol which is part of our program are nothing but the main, result, and the sum. So main is nothing but our segment definition. Main is nothing but our segment definition. Our program is starting from the main. That is the reason it comes under the type segment definition. Result is what? Result variable or the symbol, it is the locally defined variable. Okay, publicly defined variable. That is the reason LD, locally defined variable. Sum is what? Sum is not defined in that our program, but it is externally referenced. It is the externally referenced variable. That's why its type is referred as what? ER. Now relative locations, main our you can see relative the relative locations, our main location location for the main is what? Location counter for the main is what? 0. It is starting from the 0 and it is ending at the 36. Regarding the our variable result, now result is the publicly declared variable, locally defined variable. It is having the address 32. So in the external symbol directory, all this information is shown. You can see main, its type is segment definition, symbol result, its type is the locally defined, symbol sum, its type is the externally reference, and their relative locations and their length is also shown. So same thing I have mentioned here. SD stand for the segment definition. LD stand for the symbol which is defined in this program, but it can be referenced by the other program, that is variable our that kind of variable is the result which is defined in our program, but it can be utilized in the other program. Then ER stands for the external reference. It is defined in some other program, but we are utilizing our program. So you can see here sum. Here the sum is being mentioned with the extrn, and this sum you can utilize in the between part of this program which we have not shown, but some variable not defined in this program, but you can utilize it. So if you want to utilize this variable, it has to be utilized with by declaring it as a extrn here. Okay. So then also you can see so the also the relative location of the main is shown, that is starting from 0 and its size is 36. The symbol result is locally defined and its relative address is the 32. The symbol sum is the externally reference. Okay. Then second kind of object module which is produced by the assembler is nothing but the actual assemble program. That is nothing but the machine language program. Okay. So that actual assemble program, here I have shown this portion of the object module contains the machine language instruction and data that were produced during the translation. When the assembler does the translation of source program into the machine program, it produces the second kind of object module that is called as the actual assemble program. And this actual assemble program is nothing but what? It is your machine language program, that is the machine language instruction and data. So this is the second kind of object module. Third kind of object module that is produced by the assembler is what? The relocation directory. Now, you know, in one of the functionality of the loader, we have seen the loader need to perform the relocation also. And in order to perform the relocation, loader also need some information from the assembler. And that information is provided by the assembler in the form of this object module, that is the relocation directory. So what relocation directory contains? Here you can see relocation directory contains the entry for a different addresses that must be changed when the module is loaded into the main memory. Means what the relocation directory contains, which are the addresses which need to be modified, the different addresses which need to be modified, or the different addresses which need to be changed, the different addresses we need to be relocate, that thing is contained by the relocation directory. Now, you know, the address is related with the different instruction or the procedure data, etc., etc. So relocation directory contains the information about the addresses which need to be modified. And in specifically, relocation directory contains the following information. What it contains: the address of each operand that needs to be changed due to the relocation. Operand in the sense, operand is nothing but your data, address of particular data or the instruction that need to be changed when you are doing the relocation. Specific address of particular operand as a specific address of particular uh, instruction or the data that need to be changed during the relocation. Then by what it is to be changed? It means what? If address of one particular operand is 101 and it need to be relocate, then with what address it need to be relocated? If its address is the 101, and if it cannot be executed from the 101, then from what it can be executed? So apart from 101, then if it can be executed from the 105, then that has to be provided by the, that has to be provided, that information also contained in the relocation directory, by what it is to be changed. जर तुम्हाला जर त्या ऑपरंटचा ऍड्रेस चेंज करायचा असेल, then what address need to be there in place of this 101? So that information has to be provided, and using which operation this change can be done. So this information also need to be performed. So in case you can see the relocation directory contains this following information: address of each operand that has to be changed, by what address it has to be changed, and which operation need to be performed in order to change that. So this is the third object module which contain the information related to the relocation. And last object module is nothing but the considered as the end object module, which indicates the object module has been end. Okay, so this is the simple one lastly, which simply indicate the end of the object module. Okay, so as I have shown you initially, the assembler has to give the different information to the loader. So these 5 information we have seen. Now this 5 information is given to the loader with the help of these different object modules. First object module ESD, second is the actual assemble program, third is the relocation directory, and last is the end of object module. So with the help of this object module, the assembler give the information to the loaders, and then loader actually does the functioning of the allocation, relocation, and the loading, etc., etc. Okay, so that's it from this lecture on the loaders, where we have seen the definition of loader, types of the loader, function of the loaders, etc., etc. Okay, thank you all of you. If you have any question, you can put down in the comments. I will definitely answer the all the questions regarding this concept. Thank you all of you.